Jackson Cunningham, and I'm here tonight to talk to you about a topic that is very important to me, and by the end of this presentation, I hope that it is beginning to be more important to you. My global goal is peace, justice, and strong institutions. I believe that educating people on systemic racism and critical race theory is supporting my global goal.
Oh, did you give me a clicker?
Yeah.
I think you might need to X out that message.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
I was inspired to research this topic by my supervisor, Mr. Scoville, my mother, and my interviewer. Because of my conversations with them and all the news coverage, I had a little prior knowledge on my topic. Systemic racism has been going on in Indianapolis for many years, and I'm here today to bring awareness to systemic racism in Indianapolis. Let's get this presentation started. Here are the things we will be going over in this presentation. In order for us to learn about systemic racism, we must know what it is. Systemic racism is the systemic oppression of a racial group to the social, economic, and political advantage of the one. Over the past 2 years, we have seen many examples of explicit racism on social media and the news. We have seen cell phone footage capturing the murder of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor and Botham Jean, and Daunte Wright are a few deaths that have been identified as racially motivated. These deaths could have been easily prevented. One of the latest examples, Daunte Wright, and even in the case of Daunte Wright, the officer who shot him while claiming she reached for her taser received a significantly reduced prison sentence, which was reduced from 8 years to 2 years. This reduction in the prison sentence didn't seem fair when a young black man's life was taken. Systemic racism is more than just police brutality. Systemic racism also lies in healthcare, housing, education, and prisons. It is more likely for a black male to be sent to prison than a white male, and a black male can do more time in prison than a white male for the same crime. Even in the housing district, for a case of racism in that area is that a white family can get a higher appraisal value for their house than a black family living in the same house. Next slide, please. Here's a short video presentation for you guys to watch. In this video, brought to you by my uncle and interviewer, Allison Nelson, who lives in Minnesota, who runs his own law firm called Magna Law Firm. We'll talk to you for a little bit.
Hi, my name is Oliver Nelson, and I'm a civil rights attorney in Minneapolis. The focus of my civil rights work is police misconduct and inmate medical neglect cases, and you've probably heard that there's been a lot of controversy here in Minneapolis over the last few years in regards to how police officers are treating young black males. Unfortunately, there have been several incidents over the last few years here where Minneapolis police officers have violated the rights of individuals that have resulted in their deaths, and these individuals have happened to be young black males. I will tell you that it's been clear here in Minneapolis that our police department, the Minneapolis Police Department, has an issue with systemic racism. And I think that one of the ways in which we can effectively combat that is by having our police officers actually live in the communities that they police. I think that within our Minneapolis police departments, and I would say police departments as a whole, there is an issue of what I'll call unconscious racism, which I think exists because these officers go into these communities and don't really establish relationships with the community members, but are there effectively just to do their job. And because when they're doing their job, they're oftentimes engaging with people who are committing crimes, it leaves them with the false assumption that the only people that commit crimes are the people of color that live in these communities. And so one of the ways that I think we could help remedy the issue of systemic racism within our police departments is to have these police officers actually live in the communities that they police so that they can establish relationships with good-hearted, law-abiding citizens who are not committing crimes. And I think that would help counterbalance sort of the false conclusions that it's easy to draw as a police officer when you're policing in an area that's limited to one racial demographic and the only individuals that you think are committing crimes are people of color. So I'm very, very hopeful that here in Minneapolis, the issue of systemic racism with respect to our police departments will be remedied or cured. And I just thank you for listening to me, and hopefully this information has been helpful to you. Thank you.
Now that we've talked about what systemic racism is, now we can get into where it came from. Systemic racism came from a term called critical race theory. Critical race theory is an academic concept that is over 40 years old, and the core concept is that racism isn't only a social construct, but furthermore embedded in the legal system. This country was built to keep people of color and anyone who is not white down on the success chain. This is the truth about the country that we live in, and they have been hiding this from us for years. An article from the Indy Star stated that lawmakers have made their first attempts in banning critical race theory. Coming in the 2022-2023 school year, CRT may not be able to be taught in K-12 schools. If the government officials won't educate people, I will do it myself. For my community project, I had to create a SMART goal. A SMART goal is a goal that must be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. Lastly, my goal had to be time-based, and the deadline was tonight. I decided that I would measure my success whether or not I see people using the books that I will be installing in our school library on systemic racism and critical race theory to educate students. For my action, I felt using research was the best approach because you cannot educate others if you do not educate yourself first. Bringing awareness was the line with my global goal to create peace, justice, and strong institutions through my project. So at CFI, I talked to my language and literature teacher about adding books on critical race theory to the room library so that students can learn about the topic. I had to really brainstorm and research action ideas for my topic and utilize skills like research, thinking, and time management, which are also ATL skills, and also complex problem solving. This project has helped me learn many things. This project has helped me learn that procrastination does not work, planning is key to success, and also developing the ability to use organized approaches to learning skills are very pivotal to this project. I learned that complex problem solving and ATL skills that have to do with self-management, thinking, research, and communication are good things to have. The ATL skills that correlate to the IB learner profiles such as thinker, knowledgeable, communicator, open-minded, inquirer, which is one that we like to focus at here at CFI 70 and all the other CFI schools. To get my message across, I'll be filming this presentation and uploading it to YouTube and other social media platforms. For you to help me, please like the video on YouTube and share it with others to educate them as well. For my 5th grade exhibition project, my topic was literacy. For my action, I made a little library and placed it in front of CFI 70. Even today, it is still standing. To help me, you can stop by at CFI 70 and drop off a book or two on critical race theory and systemic racism if you would like to join me in educating others on this topic. The address is here. Lastly, my dream for my community is to have a safe place for all people. A place where I can walk on the street with my hood down without being racially profiled or harassed. A place where I can be myself and not have to change the way I act to be considered different from the rest of them. But I also want our community's legal system to be fair. People like me shouldn't be thrown in cages like animals. We should have the same treatment as everyone else. I want the best treatment for everyone. Lastly, I don't want to hear anything about another black male or woman or anyone being killed over anything that was not fair. And lastly, here are my slides, my bibliography for my sources, and thank you for watching my presentation.